So good afternoon all. A very warm welcome to all the attendees of this session. It's now time to introduce the speaker of the day, Dr. Harpal Thethi, Professor and Director, Division of Career Services, Lovely Professional University, Punjab. He is the recipient of 101 Most Fabulous Training and Development Leaders and Most Admirable Placement Heads in the country. Passionate educationist, digital native, researcher, and academic uh, thought leader in the field of higher education. He has contributed immensely in almost all the verticals like governance, strategic planning, FTPs, and university accreditations. He has been recognized as the senior IEEE member. He was an integral part of the team, instrumental in developing the unified technology learning platform under, under the Mission 10X platform at Wipro Technologies. I welcome you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
We also have with us Professor Gaurav Pushkarna, Deputy Dean, Computer Science Engineering, Lovely Professional University. Having an experience of 18 years in this field, he is an eloquent orator. He has been guiding and helping students in choosing a career suitable to their interest. It has always been a joy interacting with him. You will get a chance to interact with him. So I welcome you, sir, as well.
Thank you so much.
So now over to Dr. Harpal for content of the day. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Professor, for such a nice introduction. I think you have made my task a little difficult because it's always a great opportunity to talk with young minds and to work along with them towards their designated path where they make success for themselves. To cut short on the introduction, what Professor just did for me, my plain introduction is that I'm a faculty. And since I'm a faculty at heart, I want all my students to actually do great in whatever they have to do in their life. Before we actually start this entire thing today, I sincerely hope and pray that all of you are staying good. COVID has actually came as a surprise to all of us, but then somehow with last year's learning, we're able to somehow control it. But then second wave is a little difficult. So I'm just hoping, praying, and thinking that all of you are staying good. All of your, relatives are staying good. Everybody you know is staying good. These are all difficult times, but then as we have seen earlier, this should also pass by nicely. All what is required is that we need to be a little more cautious. Now, in that context, I think today's entire deliberation is very pertinent, wherein now we are actually talking about how to navigate through the new normal with internships and placements. Because whenever you choose any subject today to read along in any of the universities, be with us or be with anybody else, everybody does talks about the penultimate ROI. So the penultimate or the ultimate ROI for any of the students actually is to get a worthy job. So me and my team, so we call ourselves to be as Division of Career Services. Now let me highlight this very specifically here. We would have actually called ourselves to be as training and placement like any other university, any other group. But then we thought that if at all you know the tricks of today, and you know as to how you can extrapolate the knowledge of today and then foresee the future, you should be able to get a job. So we feel that getting a job is not that very challenging a task, but then yes, to make a meaning as to how you can extrapolate that job and make a great career for yourself, that's more super critical. That's how we have named ourselves to be as Division of Career Services, as I said. So let me start with my deck. So my deck is about for 20 minutes. I'll be open towards taking some questions towards the end of it, or if at all you have any questions, I'll request Professor to take a note of it, and then towards the end of it, actually me and Professor Pushkarna, we will be able to try and resolve some of your queries. Now, if you see this towards the backdrop of the front slide itself, you can see a lot of logos. You can see a Google, you can see an Amazon, Cognizant, you can see a VMware, Verizon, you can see a Marico, Temenos, which is Kony, which has now become Temenos. You can see a Thermex, you can see a Lutron. So basically the idea of opening my discussion today was to show this slide to you, because this is a live slide which we have taken from a wall which is stationed at block number 32, which is where the Division of Career Services is situated. Now, this we call this to be as Wall of Fame. So we keep on updating the logos here, and then we keep on putting the logos of where our students have actually gone there and make a lot of meaning, not to themselves alone, but to the entire ecosystem. So that's how I invite you to pay a visit whenever it is possible, to see as to what we have done at our place. Even before I begin, let me just start with a great news which we have received just yesterday. So LPU has actually enmarked a great journey wherein now we have got between 100 to 200 best universities in the world. Let me be again telling you this: best 100 to 200 universities in the world, which talks about our teaching learning fraternity, which talks about our endeavor, which talks about the management who is running this, which talks about each one of you who is going to be a student subsequently, and as to how the ecosystem is taking care of each and every student. Because no, let me tell you this very specifically, that each one of you is super critical for us. Now, coming back to the topics, the topic of today talks about how to navigate through the new normal. So I hope that all of you now are cognizant of the fact that world has changed. Now, I have my elder one, so he was supposed to write his 10th examination, but then with all the confusion which happened, his 10th examination is also cancelled, which means that we'll have to accept this fact that this is a part of new normal now. So the same goes back to academia, the same goes back to the world of business, and the same also goes back to the hiring cycle. Now, most of the hiring cycle which happens today has a lot of part of digital embedded at the back of it, which means that most of the processes which used to happen offline earlier, erstwhile, have now actually gone online, which means that even before a company does come in and talk with our candidates, so they do a complete R&D. I'll tell you subsequently as to what and how they do. Students are now expected to be doing a lot of multitasking, which means that you'll have to, at the same time, because no, I have been always telling this, that God has only given us 24 hours in a day, but then it depends upon as to how you want to make out of your day and how you want to make out of your career in maybe next 2 years time, 5 years time, or maybe 10 years time from now, which means that we'll have to do a lot of multitasking. Work from home has become a part of our thought process, much like maybe in what used to happen in Europe, or what used to happen in maybe US, is now happening in India as well, which means that you'll have to be cognizant of the fact that work from home in some part or the other will always be a part from now onwards, which means that you will have to be very diligently putting a line as to where your personal life starts, where your professional life ends, or vice versa. Most of the companies today with which we are working are now talking about the gig economy. I hope all of you understand what is a gig economy. So gig economy means that if at all I have an opening for UI UX per se, I will give that opening to the best of the talent which is available into the market, but then without a commitment of a long-term assignment, which means that till the assignment is there, I'll hire you. Once the assignment is not there, maybe there are other avenues to look at the larger ecosystem. That is slowly pipping in India as well. Lots of companies are today talking about gig economy and as to how they can experiment this, and then these new normals and this unprecedented times has actually given a seed of sort to us in, to including each one of us. Internet connectivity, that is a must, because that's the way by which you're going to connect back with your peers, with your seniors, with your customers, and with students like you as well. And each one of you are expected to be tech savvy, which means that I'll tell subsequently, because see, whatever you're going to do tomorrow, let's say that you have chosen, so we give about 200 plus courses from 30 plus schools at the India's single largest private university, which is LPU. Now, you may think of maybe choosing agriculture. Now, let's say that if your interest is to do a career in agriculture, let me tell you that you'll have to take a little bit of a technology on part of it. I'll give an example. So let's say that you are working along with a company called, let's say, again, for the name's sake, let's say we are putting Bosch. So they are a company which does about 15 to 20 patents each day. Now, let's say that they have given you a problem statement saying that we would like to work with the students of agriculture, but then we would like them to actually give us a solution towards the health of crop. How do you monitor it? How do you foresee it? And how do you predict it actually? And then take corrective actions if when required. So what does it involve? It involves students who are practicing agriculture. It also involves students to understand a little bit of a technology on top of it, and then it also involves students from management. Sir, एक session थे जी, who also talk and talks about some session thing करना. And it also talks about students who can put a business proposal towards it. So the best part of reading at LPU is that you will be able to form a lot of heterogeneous groups. Means that we have got, as I said a couple of minutes back, we have got about 200 plus courses, 30 plus schools giving these courses. So you'll have ample opportunity to mingle around with the best of the talents from these verticals as well, and then give a pakka solution to a company which asks for a solution now, which means that most of the courses, let me take the example of maybe a hotel management here. We all are using Alexas and Google Chrome and Google Home in our homes now, and we all know as to what these devices can do. I know a lot of hotels internationally which have actually taken down a lot of resources and have just put up Alexa there, which means that you will have to have the understanding of how the technology works, even if you are from hotel management. So my entire idea of actually starting with this slide is that uh, please put some time and energy in actually making yourself digital literate. That's the call of the day today. Now, in the next 20 minutes, I will talk about the impact of COVID in the hiring trends, how LP responded, what does industry experts expect from the students in recent scenarios, and how do you actually prepare to actually crack that job, which is up for the crack. Now, pre-COVID area, assuming that we used to do 100 placements, March last year it came down to about 30, and we saw a slow increase in it, and then it went to about, let's say, 40, 45, and about towards the end of the year it touched about 60%, which means that there was an obvious dip from where we started, where we were in last year, specifically in certain domains. In certain domains, yes, it was increased, and there was an exponential rise in it, but then overall there was a dip. So when I'm talking about careers, I'm talking about the overall careers here. That's why I'm showing a dip here. Now, in pre-COVID area, I've taken Fresher World as just a data set. So for 4,000 jobs against 3 to 4 lakh vacancies, if that was the number which was there in pre-COVID era, during the COVID era, which is again continuing right now, it has actually half down. Now, if you can see, it is actually half down. In certain sectors, it has increased twice in certain sectors. I'll talk about it a little subsequently. Base is our interaction with the corporate world over this troubled or changing times. We have seen that edtech and e-learning has come up very strong. You can see companies like maybe a Baiju buying or just about everything. You can see Vedantu doing good. Maybe you can see Upgrade doing good. Udacity, edX, Simply Learn, you name it, and actually these companies are blooming like anything. And I'm happy to even share at this point in time that last week was a great week for a startup kind of a ecosystem in India. We saw 10 startups coming up and becoming unicorn last week, and that was a great news for India as an entity. E-commerce obviously has gone many folds because most people are staying back home. They are doing all their purchase through e-commerce. So the fintech companies have also gone up. Recently, you would have heard Razorpay raising another round of a big round of money. HR tech and fintech has actually again gone up like anything. As I said, if you see, I've written HR tech, which means that even in HR, apart from human values like being empathetic and then a problem solver, a little bit of a knowledge of technology is a must now. Healthcare as a sector in India has increased like anything. Now, I don't have to tell you that a simple mask, which was about 200 rupees last year, is about 10 rupees right now, which means that healthcare industry has done pretty good in these troubled time. And to put the threat to all these companies was IT at the back, which means that IT as a solution provider, IT as a service provider, IT as somebody who is trying to resolve the problems of today has actually traveled a lot of way, which means that my main giveaway towards en route this lecture series today is that I invite all of you to be actually a little bit digital savvy now, and try and make your hands dirty in some of the best technologies. I mean, I'll give an example. So full stack was always there. It's just that people have just coined up a new word for that. We always were doing a little bit of a testing. We always were doing a front ending, the back ending. Now everything is expected from a single resource like you. So you'll have to be actually very careful as to and then competent and be worthy and be prepared of a job which may pop up. Now, the top career paths, we have seen a subject matter expert because of the increase in obviously a tech space. We have seen sales and marketing actually doing pretty good in this part, and then digital cutting through across this has made this a super vertical. Data analyst, obviously, there is a lot of data, but then there has to be somebody who will make people data literate. So data analysts are the guys who actually work along with us. Actually, I was in a session of Lois yesterday, and they were actually running us through as to what data has done with them and how they have increased many folds just by doing data analysis at the right time, at the right space, and with the right intent. Online teaching, again, a part of SMEs. Animators and video editors, yes, they have actually also got some meteor roles. Embedded engineers will always be there because IoT has come up really well. People are talking about man to machine to machine learning, machine to man learning. So obviously an embedded designer plays a critical role here. Digital marketing and SEO, as I said, as the buzzword today. If you have to do nothing and get a good meaningful job, do make yourself digital ready, and that'll actually help you with some job or the other. I'm sure of that fact. Software engineering in terms of AI and ML has actually, and an amalgamation of AI and ML, I'll put it that way, has come up really well in these times. Product management, project management, coupled up with digital, coupled up with you becoming an SME, has again carved a niche for itself. We have seen a steep increase in graphic designers, UI, UX. Testing will always be there, though most of it is automated today. But then, yes, a little bit of a manual will always be there. So, but there would always be requirement for this. Content writing has actually become pretty heavy these days. Similarly, web development and programmers and mobile app developers, they were always there. They will always be in next 10 years time as well. So these are some of the paths where we have seen a lot of companies do hire. Now the impact on the hiring, I've just talked about it, so I'm going to skip this. Now, how did LPU responded to these unprecedented times? So we are a strong believer of the fact that whenever there's an adversity, there is always an opportunity as well. So we thought that instead of sitting back and crying at one place as to what will happen with our students and with our larger ecosystem, we went doubly aggressive towards it, which means that we were reactive, and we also became a little bit of proactive. We were always proactive, so we became a little reactive towards the situation as well. And I'm going to give you some figures which I'm sure will leave you all stuck. So 1,400 plus MNCs do recruit students from about 200 plus courses, 30 plus schools which LPU has to offer. Most of them are marquee and pedigree companies, and they find themselves in the Fortune 500 list. The highest package was about 42 lakh rupees. This staggering figure will talk about the numbers which we have done over a period of this last 1 year. 7,500 plus offers. No other university in the nation has actually made these many number of offers. 110 recruiters which recruit from meaningful IITs, IIMs, and NITs at similar packages and similar roles hire from LPU as well. And 300 plus companies have been offered with have offered our students with a package of more than 5 lakh rupees. Number stands about 2,400 plus and still counting. These are some staggering numbers. 1,150 plus students got placed in various corporates at day one last year. I'm in the batch which is going to graduate this summer. 739 numbers of offers made by Cognizant is the highest in North India. 428 by Capgemini is again highest in North India. 100 offers is highest in this region by DXC. Now, what is the industry expectation from students at these troubled times? So these are some of the expectations. Now, as I said, some part of digital is going to stay with the hiring cycle for the times to come now, which means that unlike today, even before a company comes in and recruit you once you graduate from any of the courses, be it from our university or from any other place elsewhere, people will ask you about your digital footprints, which means that they will ask you about what you have been doing in Facebook, what you have been doing in Insta, or what you have been doing in maybe a GitHub or a LinkedIn, and they will try and curate a story around it. They'll do a lot of psychometric assessment around it, because no, there cannot be a split of personalities. I mean, you cannot be a at LinkedIn and a B, or a completely 360 phase shift or 180 phase shift at maybe a Facebook. So obviously, people try and curate a lot of data sets and put some stories around it, and then even before they come to recruit, they will have a mindset about each one of you. So I invite you to be very careful in whatever you are doing in digital, and be very meaningful and built on the entire story of yours, because I'm sure that each one of you will have a different story, which means that the definition of success for me is a little different to what the definition of success is for you. So I invite you to actually work on a piece of paper where you funnel down on, let's say, 5-7 companies where you want to work subsequently once you have graduated from any of the courses which you have taken with us, and then subsequently write down the traits such that you become worthy to get a job there, and then start working on each data set such that when time comes, when you give your resume to the interviewer, you have a complete story and you built up the entire story and then present the story. I'm also a firm believer of the fact that whenever an interview opportunity comes in, it is basically people are looking at you not to reject you but to select you. So you'll have to be cognizant of this fact. And then whenever the opportunity comes in, no, instead of an interview or an interviewer driving you, you should drive your interview, which means that you should know that which all points are your strong points, wherever you are very, very pakka, and how you make a story around that pakka points, and completely present yourself as a finished product. Whenever possible, please do a lot of certifications, because a lot of certifications are available now through lots of MOOCs platform. Get comfortable in using online meeting and AI based interview platforms, which means that companies are now doing a lot of automation in terms of how the online process is going to happen. They will capture your emotions, they will capture your blinking of the eyes, just to say that you have applied and you have given the examination with all fairness. Email etiquette is a super critical thing. I have seen a lot of people flaunting here, so please don't do that. So it's not a difficult trait to master. It's just that you'll have to put your heart and soul into it. Please treat each of our email as an opportunity, as an avenue which may lead to your larger story. And net etiquettes are super critical. Be in proper formals. I'm also wearing a coat today, even though it is a little hot here, but then since I was talking with young minds like you, I thought I'll have to be in formals. Study company profile in JD, which is very, very critical. So JD is basically a document which a company will give you, which talks about what are the expectations from a student like you, what they want, what precisely is the criteria for sitting in the company, what should be the job role, where should be the job role, what are the packages, and what are the opportunities for you to grow in your career. So I invite you to be very specific here and read this document very, very carefully. Sit in a noise-free area, and please see that nobody's disturbing you, because no, you'll have to be receptive. You'll have to be counter. You'll have to actually close the loop as well, which means you'll have to reproduce also. So this happens if you're sitting at a calm place and your mind is working. Be punctual and have a good internet connection, which is very much required. And then a lot of documents will happen digital way as well, which means that you should have all the ID proofs, CVs, resume, transcripts ready for any opportunity which may pop up. Now, we were talking about internships, and I am sure that if at all there are certain parents also sitting in this deliberation today, you would have actually gone through the national education policy, which the Ministry of HRD has just given, wherein no, even the ministry has talked about people working on the problem of today with the tools of today and then forcing the future. I mean, gone are the days when you will be working on the tools of yesterday with the pedagogy of yesterday, working on the problem of today and providing a solution for tomorrow, which is not going to happen. So, which is where your rubbing shoulders with the best of the minds in the corporate world is super critical, which happens obviously through during internship. And the way with which we are a little unique is that We are very few universities, pan-India and internationally also, which work at tandem with the corporate world and give them a long window of about 1 year internship also. Yes, you have heard it correct. A 1 year long internship is also which we have been practicing since last couple of years for most of our courses which we offer. So when I say internship, so this gives you an opportunity to enhance your resume and put a lot of critical data sets into the resume, helps you build your professional network, develop connections and professional references, expand your learning and experiencing new skills, explore different career opportunities, and actually make you work along with the real world with the problem of today. So we feel that wherever this opportunity comes in, we allow our students to do internships. Now, when I say what we have done at LPU, we work with most of the top brands nationally, internationally. We see that most of our students are getting paid stipend for working there. The highest stipend which was received last year was about 80,000 rupees. Today, this has scaled up to 1 lakh rupees. We work along with maybe a winter or maybe a summer or a short term to a long 1 year internship program also with the corporate world. And most of the time we have seen that this leads to a PPI or a PPO, which stands for a pre-placement offer, which a company gives you even before coming to the open market when they hire. So some of the companies with which we have been actually working along and for internships are this. But then I invite you to pay a visit to my homepage, that is come down to lpu.in, then click on the tab for placements. Once you click on the tab for placements, you will be in my placement page. So we have put up lots and lots of stories there which talks about the university's endeavor efforts in making students corporate ready, in making students industry ready. And industry has been very kind to us, and they have actually accepted students from LPU with open arms, and we have been able to strengthen our relationship with most of the clients or the growth partners along with which we work. Now, coming back to again where I started from. So we feel that this new normal is here to stay. So please be cognizant of the fact that a lot of online things will happen. You will have to be working more now. So basically the idea is that you work now and then enjoy the fruits of it subsequently. Work from home is going to be a part of your life. More contractual jobs, as I talk about the gig technology, and you need to be tech savvy. Now, how do we prepare our students? So what we do is that we work along with the corporate world, and wherever possible we take a lot of inputs from them. We reverse integrate those inputs into our curriculum, which means that our curriculum, unlike any other place or unlike any other university, goes for a change every year. Yes, you have heard it correct. Every year we take input from the corporate world. We do a very specific task for sitting along with the corporates and trying to understand as to what the problem they are facing, and then try to reverse integrate those problems in most of the problem statement which we give for our BTech caption projects or maybe short-term projects or maybe PhD problem statements as well. So we work along with all the third-party vendors, also try and find out if at all there are any discrepancies, if at all there are discrepancies in what the expectation is and what our students are. We immediately train them so that we are able to close the loop accordingly, appropriately, quickly. And then in some of the times we also have a long-term training needs. Just to give you a small hint, my CSC vertical alone has about 37 sub verticals collating to about 7 pillars. So all of our students are basically having a computer science degree along with a specialization in these 7 pillars, which means that most of them are data ready or cloud ready or maybe an IoT ready or maybe a ML ready, AI ready, and all those kind of things, or maybe an SAP ready, or maybe a Pega ready. So that is how we have been actually training our students. So our training team, which is basically a complete finishing school, does a lot of intervention with our schools, with our students from schools. We work along the verbal ability. We also work along and help them through the analytical ability. Soft skills is a major part, and with everything going digital, it has become even the more critical as to how you articulate, how you put down your thoughts, how you interact, how you open an account, how do you go through an account, how do you close an account. So these all things are very, very super critical today. And then we also feel that any language learned will be a great advantage, because no, अगर मैं हिंदी में कहूँ कि मथुरा में रहना है तो राधे राधे कहना है, which means that you need to understand the local language, and invest some time in learning some foreign languages also, which will give you a complete edge. And because you are anyway tech heavy, and with this foreign language coming in, you become even the more sellable into the market. So some of the initiatives which we do is that we do a lot of assessments in most of our third-party platforms. Our students have been doing wonders. Just a small data set here in HackerEarth. If you are connected to the internet right now, you can click HackerEarth and see for national rankings, and you will see LPU's logo right up there. We are third in the country right now among all the participating colleges, universities, including a lot of IITs and NITs as well. Credited and non-credited classes. We do a lot of mock drives, which means that even before a company comes in and does a complete drive, we handhold the students and tell them as to what shall happen during this entire drive and what are the do's and don'ts expected from the students. Company specific inputs are also given basis the JD which we have received. There are ample clubs and activities because now we feel that we should make you a complete holistic product, so that you, whenever there is an opportunity at a platter, you'll be able to grab it with both the hands and do good for yourself, for your parents, for your ecosystem, and also for your alma mater. In most of the competitive events, in hackathons, makeathons, mix of hackathons, makeathons, problem statements, case studies, students have been doing pretty good. Most of our students are campus ambassadors with one or the other company. A lot of workshops wherein you go into the shoes of the leaders and try and understand how they are looking at a problem and how they are looking at an avenue to give a solution to the problem, and how actually they go about and solve it. Similarly, guest lectures and webinars, a lot of live projects, industrial visits, industry tie-ups, so much so that our courses having most of these industry-backed curriculums back integrated in our course. We work along with each one of you to curate a individualistic CV, because we feel that your CV is the first point which you talk with the corporates. So we want each one of you to have a different story, because each one of you are different. So we do not encourage you to go down to Google and then just do a control C and control V. We work along with each one of you towards your endeavor in what you do in LinkedIn. As a sample, you can look at my LinkedIn profile. That'll give you a little bit of input. Similarly, so these are some of my recruiters. The list is big. I told you at the beginning itself 1,400 plus. So I would have not shown you, I could have not shown you all those logos here, but then some of the marquee logos are getting popped up here, and some more logos are popping up here. If I'm not able, if I'm missing some of the logos, which I'm sure I am, I invite you to actually pay a visit to my homepage, click on my placement tab, come to the placement page. That is where the entire story of placements is there. Keep looking at our social handles where we keep on sharing the success of each one of you. With this, I will rest my case right now. And if at all there are any questions, I will request Professor to collate it and give it back to me. Thank you so much.
So thank you, Dr. Harpal, and thank you for starting with what is new normal, and then taking up the impact of COVID hiring, top career pathways, response of LPU in COVID times, industry expectation, and unearthing of the data that you shared. Thank you so much for that. We do have a lot
Pleasure.
of queries with us. Can we take up now?
Or we can give it to professors for his session, whatever works for you. I'm fine.
So we can take up a few questions before we move on to Dr. Gaurav Pushkarna.
Sure.
There is a query, very interesting query from Saroj Bala. Now she wants to know how differently the company behaves with a regular student and a distance learning student. Are they considered equal or what? What difference?
Interesting question, as you rightly said, Professor. Uh, Wherever the opportunity is there, I invite you to actually do a full-time course, because no, a full-time course, as I said, there are various avenues which are available inside the university. So leave apart just making you tech ready or your course ready. Will also make you soft skill wise ready. Will also make you, there are ample opportunities where you work along with heterogeneous groups, as I said a couple of minutes back. So whenever there is an opportunity, you should look at doing a complete course. If at all that is not possible, obviously for working professionals, or if somebody's having some issues back home, obviously working along in distance is also a good option. But then in that case, I suggest that you should keep working very, very close with your designated mentor, such that he or she will be able to guide you towards curating more data sets, which make a more interesting story, which makes a more interesting story for everybody to sell, everybody to buy. That's my answer, Professor.
Thank you, Dr. Harpal. And I think Saroj Pala has got your answer from the experts. And I request all the attendees, I can name few of them. I can see Saurabh Prajapati, Sajjan Khan is here, and then Shaurya is here, Aman Gope is here, Anisha. So in case you want to talk to our experts directly, you can put in your hand, raise your hand through the interface. I can directly connect you to the experts, and you can get the answer to your query then and there, right? So for the time being, I'm taking up another query that is in the Q&A box with me. Uh, so there is Mayank Kumar. Mayank says, uh, how is civil engineering internship and placement going in this COVID era? And how is the technology, how much level of technology is required for civil engineering?
Very much, very much. I'm very thankful that somebody has actually taken up this question, because no, in just years when we were and professor we are doing engineering, no, there were only two type or three type of engineering. There was a mechanical, there was an electrical, and there was a civil. Which means that whomsoever has done engineering will know that these are mother of all branches. And with technology coming in, no, you have seen companies like maybe an Autodesk, or maybe a 3D holistic view of maybe a bridge, which gives. So all these kind of companies have been doing pretty good. Um, I know there has been a little bit of a challenges in terms of getting very marquee companies at some of the places, but then yes, at most of the places we have been able to secure good job opportunities for students from civil and mechanical as well. Mechanical has done pretty good, I must tell you. And if at all the infra of the country has to happen with this Char Dham Yojana and whatever as the Prime Minister and the PMO is talking about, I think we are seeing golden time ahead to us. And that has been the case. Was you have seen L&T growing many folds during this COVID time. So yes, the work has never stopped. We have seen Reliance Infra doing pretty good in during this entire time. So work has not stopped, will not stop, and with a little bit of a technology intervention into it, no, I think you become even more sellable, as I said a couple of minutes back.
So, Mayank, I hope you are well answered and keep your hopes up. And as the experts say, you will definitely get a good job. And the next question comes from Yashika Yadav. She wants to know, as the practicals cannot be delivered these days due to online classes in in such a specific way as they were going to be delivered in a physical way. So are the companies taking up these things? They are grasping, or they should, how they behave? The companies is accepting this thing or not?
So, Professor, even before COVID times, people were talking about labs inside classes, which means that people were actually saying that if at all a lab cannot come down to a class of, let's say, 200, or let's say 100, or let's say 50 for that matter, in certain courses, what does it stops for a lab coming down to the class? Which means that there are ample opportunities wherein no, with the help of technology, with the help of IT, most of these places, labs have actually come down to the classes, and even during this COVID era, which was a little troubled era for all of us, which it's still a troubled era for all of us. I feel that there are ample opportunities where you can train yourself well, even for the lab part of it. So there are ample MOOCs available. Most of the universities in my peer, we leave no stone unturned, so that no, our students are lab ready as well, wherever it is possible. And with COVID protections, we have also tried to see if we can call a small batch and do certain meaningful interventions as and when required. So rest assured, once you're working along with the experts, um, and somebody who has curated a lot of careers, people will leave no stone unturned, so that no, they make you complete pakka, because the idea is that uh, to sell a half-cooked cake is a little difficult, but then to sell a completely cooked cake, which is nicely decorated with a nice line written on top of it, is much more easier.
Thank you so much, Dr. Harpal. We have a very big resource with us in this concern. Professor Pushkarna, can you come along with us? Yeah. So, as you are from computer science engineering, can you take up the same question? How practicals are being taken up by the university? How good they are these days? How we are coping up with these online?
Yeah, thanks for the question, Dr. Rishi. See, in computer science and IT, it's actually an opportunity for us to perform pretty well, and we have uh, you know uh, brought the classes or practicals directly into the classrooms. And now, since we have virtual classrooms, we are dealing online only. I'll just give an example. Like, I take a class and I share the screen and I open the online compilers. I demonstrate some programs and ask the students to share their screen. And in case they are having any doubts, we can share each other's screens. We can access each other's screens using some platforms like TeamViewer and AnyDesk and whatsoever. So the idea is that in computer science, it is pretty much easy to bring the labs to your virtual classrooms. So I think there's no issue. We are doing pretty good.
So thank you so much, and I hope many questions have been resolved by the answer given by Professor Pushkarna. And we'll be giving you a break, Dr. Harpal, for a while, and move on to Dr. Pushkarna for a quick presentation, and then we'll take up rest of the questions. Over to you,
Sure.
Professor Pushkarna.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I hope my screen is visible. Yes.
Yeah, perfect.
All right. So thank you, formal thank you to Dr. Harpal for putting such a good insight to this scenario. And I'll be taking certain things about admissions in case you are looking forward to it. So whenever we are deciding upon certain institute or maybe a university to take admission, there are certain parameters on the basis of which you compare uh, the two colleges or institutes. So I'll be taking few of them one by one. So campus life is one such issue. Of course, you've been missing campus life these days in your school times, and let's have a look at it. We had the opportunity to host the Prime Minister of India here at the campus on the occasion of 106th Indian Science Congress. And then we had this privilege of hosting His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama on the occasion of the convocation. So the big personalities visit the campus, and the idea is to let you learn from the wisdom of people of such high strata. So a lot of people visiting. Infrastructure is a big part, as people said. Of course, we are missing out on it these days, but this is the open air amphitheater of the campus. This is the indoor auditorium, big auditorium, capacity of around 2,500 at any point of time. This is the Mac lab of the campus. This is the library. Of course, this is not giving you the full view. It is a 9-story tall library, and you do not have to run around all those 9 floors to search for your books. It is all digital and online. This is a shopping mall. Yes, you heard it right. This is a shopping mall, and of course, not operational these days, but it works in two ways. It serves two purposes. One, of course, shopping. Yes. Second, it works at something known as incubation center. Okay, so in case there is a student who wants to become an entrepreneur and have a good idea to implement, so we can give them space to implement that idea here at the mall. So there are a lot of student projects running here in this building. This is the inside view of the mall, few grocery stores, gyms, bowling arena. And since we are a big campus, a lot of students stay inside, not of course not right now. So we have full-fledged 50-bedded hospital inside the campus to take care of the health needs of also. Few landscapes of the campus. All right, so these are the glimpses of the indoor auditorium, so the sports complex that have come up in the campus in a big way. This is a 50-meter Olympic size swimming pool. Apart from that, we have a warm-up pool of 25 meter. Then we have a diving pool. This is a 10-meter shooting range. We have indoor 12 badminton courts, 3 volleyball courts, basketball courts, 6 squash courts, all indoor. So it's a big complex. So this is the outside view of that sports complex, and it is eagerly waiting for you guys. Talking about the residential facility and security, it's a fully secured campus. A lot of options available, like 1-seater, 2-seater, 3-seater options, and food options. Just to give an example, 4-seater air-cooled room will cost around something like 65,000 per annum. A lot of food options available, and it's a big residential campus. A lot of amenities are there: banks, ATMs, 24-hour Wi-Fi, post office, gymnasium, hospitals. I've already told you. A lot of convenience stores for your help. So if I talk about the programs that we offer almost all the programs. Leaving, I think, core medical, we offer almost all the programs. So just to give you an insight, in case you are interested for engineering, so a lot of streams we offer for BTech, computer science, IT, electronics and communication, electrical. So primarily all the streams, and we offer 2 programs in tie with upgrade also for computer science. And fee and scholarship is also sometimes a part or a factor on the basis of which you can decide, like I should go for this institute. So quality education should not be too expensive, we feel so. So there has to be some scholarship part associated with it. As far as LPU is concerned, we have been running the largest scholarship scheme practically by any private organization in the country. So in the last 7 years, we have distributed around 500 crores of scholarship benefiting around 60,000 students. Just to give an example, let's say if we talk about BTech program, the fee is like 1,20,000 per semester. But the fee is not same for everybody. Fee depends upon the caliber of the student. So better the student, lesser the fee. This is the idea. So in case you are having more than 80% marks in your qualifying exam, you get 30% scholarship and your fee gets reduced to 84,000. In case you get more than 90% marks in your qualifying examination, you get a scholarship of 40% and your fee gets reduced to 72,000 per semester. And in case you get 95% or more marks in your qualifying exam, you get a scholarship of 50% and your fee gets reduced to 60,000 per semester. So for all the semesters, so it's a big scholarship scheme. And this is apart from CSE. CSE has different brackets. It is not 30, 40, 50. It is like 20, 25 and 30%. So maximum scholarship you can get in BTech CSE program is 30%, and your fee can get reduced up to 84,000 per semester. We offer scholarships and grants on the basis of other parameters also. For example, any national level, you have good performance in any national level test, or maybe good sports or cultural performers in case you have played national or maybe a medalist, state medalist, so you can get scholarship on the basis of that also. And it can go to the extent of zero fee, zero tuition fee. You can study in case you are a national medalist, you can get 100% waiver, including hostels. Okay, so that is to that extent we go. So we have scholarship scheme for defense personnel and their wards, or maybe disabled student. Also, we have introduced a policy, and it's you have to apply for it in case. I'll be giving you some uh, links in case you have any query regarding this. Of course, I would not be able to specify the complete policy here, but I'll be leaving you with the pointers where you can connect and get your queries resolved. So the application process is pretty simple. You can go to the website lpu.in. You can click on admissions tab, or you can directly go to admissions.lpu.in link, and something known as LPU Admit portal will pop up. You register with your basic details, and rest of the process is uh, pretty self-explanatory. So you'll not be finding anything difficult in pursuing it. In case you have any questions, you can shoot a mail at admissions@lp.co.in, or you can dial this number, toll-free number 1-800-102-4407. So your queries are most welcome there. Uh, any questions or any doubts, I would be happy to take.
So thank you, Professor Pushkarna, for giving a quick insight to the university infrastructure, the scholarships, and the eligibility. Thank you so much. In case we have any queries, they are popping up. I'll definitely take up those. Um, for the time being, we have a query for Dr. Harpal. Can we take up those?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So we have Vanisha. Vanisha wants to know from CSCIT how much knowledge of CF from other than CSCIT, how much knowledge of CSCIT should be important for me if I take admission in non-computer science?
Interesting question. So, see, when I was doing that tech presentation there itself, I said that a little bit of a technology has to go into whatever course you are doing today. I gave you the example of Alexa helping students and whole management. Similarly, we have seen AI doing wonders, and maybe other fraternities also, like a fashion, wherein AI has come up in a long way. No, see what is happening with Amazon. Soon they are actually trying to give you a view where you can look and feel the product which you are going to buy subsequently, and when does and how does that happen, no? So there has to be the aesthetic value of whatever you are trying to buy, which comes from somebody who knows fashion, or which comes from somebody who knows medicine, or which comes from somebody who knows the law part of it. But then there has to be somebody who will actually put it through the shelf and give it to the larger world. Why restrict yourself to a city where you are positioned, or to a country where you are positioned? Why not open it to everybody? Because that's how globalization comes into picture. So I feel that a little bit of digital knowledge is a must for everybody. So I suggest that each one of you, whenever there is an opportunity, it's not very difficult, no. So it's just as simple as a black or a gray, or as we write in engineering, a hash 0000 to a hash FFFFF. So nothing in between. So you can always do a little bit of a study yourself. It's not tough, let me tell you this. And most of you have done a little bit of a technology yourself also ना. हम हिंदी में बात करते हैं, हम अंग्रेजी में बात करते हैं, तो ऐसे ही है कि हम ये नहीं करेंगे तो वो करेंगे, वो नहीं करेंगे तो ये करेंगे. Simple. Put that in a language which computer understands. That's it.
Thank you so much, Dr. Harpal. It was really an interesting answer. Thank you. There's a question from Prachi. Prachi wants to know from Professor Gaurav that are these scholarship, whatever you have shown, offered only at the time when we take admission, or it is continued for all the semesters?
Yeah, Prachi, the scholarship that is offered to you primarily continues for the full duration of the program. So whatever I said, let's say you get into a BTech program and you get 50% scholarship, that 50% scholarship will continue for full duration. Let's say if it is BTech, for all the 8 semesters. So no worries.
So I hope, Prachi, you have got your answer, and a very positive answer. You should be happy with that. And the fee of BCA, they want to know from wherein, from the website, or wherein they can check the fee of BCA particularly.
Yes, if you allow me, I'll share my screen and possibly I can guide you
Yeah.
through the process.
So again, Chirag, it's for you. Professor Gaurav is showing you the screen from wherein you can check your the fee structure and everything else. I'm giving you the rights to, um, yeah. Already you are the presenter, Professor
Yes,
Gaurav.
yes.
So it's for you. Please carefully have a look at your screen. Chirag Anand. And meanwhile, I must tell Professor Gaurav that Prachi has given you a big thank you for the answer.
Most welcome. You'd be seeing the home page of the website. You can go to lpu.in. So this would pop up. There are certain important links here. You can go to admissions, and again there will be certain links here. Programs by qualification. In case you want to talk about BCA, let's say you can go click here after 12th programs. So you click on it. So you'll be seeing the disciplines in which we offer programs after 10 plus 2. There will select computer applications, and then you'll be seeing computer applications programs after 10 plus 2. Okay, so something like this, computer applications and IT. So here is the BCA program, and every detail about this program in terms of program details, curriculum, fee, scholarships, program outcomes, how to apply, important dates, everything is visible here. Okay, so in case you want to apply, you can apply directly from here. You can see the fee details, the scholarship amount, and even you can see the curriculum, the first year curriculum, autumn term, spring term, the second year curriculum, the third year curriculum, what subjects are to be taught, it is mentioned here, and a brief introduction of each and every subject is mentioned here. Okay, so this becomes an important way. So whatever program we offer, this university offers, we have pages for all those programs specifying their each and every detail. I hope this answers the query.
Yeah, Chirag, I hope you have got your answer visually as well. Thank you, Professor Gaurav, and moving on to Dr. Harpal for another one or two questions. So,
Yes, please.
Grishma wants to know, when should I start preparing for the placements? What's the right time to start preparing?
There is no right and wrong time. You should start immediately. You don't have to start anything which is rocket science, no. Just find a mentor. This mentor can be somebody in your family. This mentor can be a sibling of yours, somebody whom you actually look into, a faculty member. Just find some resources somewhere. And as I said a couple of minutes back, also there are only 24 hours, so it's up to you, because no, you will have to drive as to what 24 hours will ask from you. So start as soon as possible, because that will give you a little more play area to work with, and you can add a little more data sets onto your story, and then go about in the market and talk about the story. And if you work along with us, we will tell your story to the larger world. Don't worry about it, and we know how to tell, what to tell, and where to tell. I hope that answers.
So, Grishma, yeah, I hope you are well answered by Dr. Harpal. And you can see, not for today, he is visible over here. You can put in your queries at the admissions@lpu.co.in, and then we can put forward the queries to Dr. Harpal. He would be available to answer all your queries in case you have any after this webinar also, right? So we have one more question that's coming from Jayant. I'm confused, he says. I'm confused whether I should go for a job or the higher studies after engineering.
See, elevating a degree of yours is always good. I'll put it that way. But you look at the Western world. So most of the celebrated universities, they do two things. A, most of the celebrated universities in Europe and US are private, correct? Because they have this advantage of changing whatever they have to at their wish. B, most of the innovations come from these universities, correct? So I'll say that uh, uh, that is what is even happening in India. So that way, you'll have to be a little more curious and try and build on that.
Okay, Jayant.
Rishita?
Yeah, yeah, coming up. So another question, quick question, is from Vivek. Can you please share the names of few competitive platforms you mentioned in your presentation?
A lot of them, no. I just told about HackerRats, HackerRank, or maybe go to a tech gig for that as a platform, or you can visit any of these companies where you want to work tomorrow, because no, each of the company today is running some show or the other. I mean, look at how Flipkart took up the interns this year. So it was through this platform only. So there are multiple platforms, multiple avenues which are available today for a student like you to work along and see as to what the companies of repute want and how they are curating the data sets. So there are multiple avenues which are available. Similarly, you can look at maybe if you want to be, if your heart and soul is into SAP, so SAP HANA will actually cost you a bomb. But then there are opportunities where you can work along with maybe a Niti Aayog, and Niti Aayog will train you. Or maybe you can work along with the likes of maybe an ASCOM. So NASCOM will actually train you in open market. That certification will cost you not less than about 4-5 lakh rupees. But then there are avenues where you do good, present yourself to be as a worthy competitor or a worthy a growth factor, and there are ample opportunities where you can work along. Look at the likes of what Microsoft is doing, or look at the like of maybe what Google is doing today. You would have heard of Google GSOC programs. So there are multiple avenues which are there. This is on the tech side of it. Similarly, on the management side of it, no, there are a lot of companies like maybe a McKinsey or a Bains or a BCG or the Big Four, and they have these case studies which they roll it out now even to the open market, where they say that, hey, this is my problem statement, or maybe the likes of maybe an HUL for an example. Well, they say that this is a problem statement, this is what we want to achieve, please tell us as to how you can go about it and achieve it. So this is the other advantage of going digital, where it doesn't matter that you come from a tier 1 city or a tier 2 city, or from somebody who is sitting in the last part of this country or anywhere in the world.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Harpal. One last question before we sign off. Uh, Prabal wants to know, I'm interested in hotel management, but worried about the situation of the hotel industry in such times. So what you have to say on this?
See, we all hope that the situation will revive, and once the situation is going to revive, people will eat, people will go outside, people will love to embrace technology, as I said. Um, People go to hospitals for sure, because no, leave apart this havoc which is there in the country and internationally right now. There are so many other diseases which are there where you have to go to a hospital, which means that the hospitals are there to stay, which means that the car boutiques are here to stay, which means that the shops are here to stay. And if all these things are to stay, people have to stay somewhere outside their home, so hotel has to stay. So I think that answers the query.
So, Prabal, that was really fantastic and very boosting answer for you. Thank you so much. And due to dearth of time, we won't be able to take up many questions after this. And I am going to sign off at a formal note by saying, experts, your years of research, your depth of understanding the topic, and your ability to present the topic in such an interesting way produced one of the most wonderful afternoons for all the attendees. On behalf of all attendees of this webinar, I would like to thank you for your insightful presentation. Hopefully, the attendees found this webinar to be valuable and will be able to utilize the information provided in this webinar to help take a better decision regarding their admissions. I'm obliged and once again thankful to Dr. Harpal and Professor Gaurav for strengthening this platform. Thank you so much, sir. And with a closing note of yours, both of you, and we'll be signing off.
Thank you
Over
so
to
much,
you, Dr.
Professor. Thanks to you, the entire team. And we are eagerly waiting at university. So the way we write LPU is we do not write university, we write university. So it's a city in itself, 650 acres of built up area, which is fantastic. And a lot of data sets which will make you holistic product so that you become an auto sell into the corporate world. So looking forward to see you in campus. Thank you so much. God bless. Do take care. Take care of yourself, of your parents, of your nearbys, and stay excited and keep writing back to us if at all you have any queries. Thank you so much.
So, Professor Gaurav.
Yeah, I think all is said. Thank you so much for the time, and stay safe, do well. Thank you so much.
Okay, take care. Thank you so much.